Steve, good morning, and thank you so much for spending time with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's focus on the debate tonight. What's going to be Vice President Mike Pence's message going into this singular vice presidential debate?
You know, I think in terms of the Trump-Pence agenda, he's going to make the case, the economic case of why this ticket, Trump and Pence, should be effectively rehired by the people of the United States for 4 more years. He's going to focus on the economic renaissance that is afoot in this country right now. All the recent metrics show us that this country is really exploding with economic activity and resiliency. We can accelerate and continue that second Trump boom into the next 4 years if we do, in fact, reelect President Trump. I think he will also correctly identify who his opponent is in Kamala Harris. She is, per GovTrack data, that is an independent organization that does statistical modeling of legislators. They determined that she is literally the most liberal member of the United States Senate. Out of all 100 senators, she is she is further to the left than even Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. So I think he will both lay out the Trump vision for growth, as well as identify correctly who Kamala Harris really is and her radical agenda.
And we know President Trump is back at the White House continuing to recover from COVID-19, but that also has him away from the campaign trail right now. What is the campaign strategy for engaging voters?
Yeah, so we've launched just this week an effort that we're calling Operation MAGA. And what that's about, over the last couple of days, we've done a lot of digital outreach to our folks. We've had a bunch of digital rallies, one of them led by Vice President Pence. Today's focus is clearly going to be on the vice presidential debate. And then starting tomorrow through the weekend, we're going to have a lot of physical events. Our officials, campaign officials, elected office holders, surrogates are going to fan out all over the country and try to have events and really flood the zone with content and people and carry President Trump's message forward. Look, we know that President Trump is one of a kind, so nobody can replace him on the campaign trail. But if I can use a baseball analogy right now, it's playoff time in America. Our ace pitcher is temporarily on the DL. He's going to be back soon. When he's going to be throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. But in the meantime, we do have a team that can carry forward, and we are doing that. And Vice President Pence himself, by the way, once he's done with the debate, is going to start a barnstorming tour. He's going to be, of course, a critical part of this Operation MAGA.
All right, so we might see the vice president out doing some barnstorming, but do we think the president will be holding rallies anytime soon? Clearly, that was the hallmark of the 2016 campaign and his current campaign to date. And if so, will there be any new safety measures in place at these campaign events given the president's recent diagnosis?
Well, to the first part of your question, we just don't know yet. Thankfully, his recuperation is progressing amazingly. We heard from his doctor yesterday that he had 0 symptoms. That doesn't mean that he's done yet. It doesn't mean that he's not contagious. So we have to get medical clearance, of course, before he can physically interact with people. But we are highly confident that he will be able to attend his debate, that it will come off as planned October 15th. Next week in Miami. My guess is, and we don't know this yet, my guess is after that point is when he'll be able to start physically campaigning again and doing rallies. And regarding the rallies, listen, we have always taken protocol very seriously, those rallies. We recommend masks for everyone. We provide them for everyone. Everyone must take a temperature check to get in. And in addition to that, we just rely on the common sense of Americans to determine for themselves what is an appropriate risk profile for them. So we would be the first to say, for instance, to somebody who is elderly and of ill health, even if they're big fans of President Trump, they probably shouldn't come to those events. Probably doesn't make sense for them, but we're going to rely on their judgment.
Okay, Steve, I do want to ask you, just a few hours ago, we learned stimulus talks are on hold until after the election. How is the Trump administration helping Americans who are struggling so much right now?
Sure. Well, the first thing that we're doing, of course, is creating the conditions for growth. We just got out an amazing jobs report last Friday. In total, over the last 5 months, over 11 million new jobs have been added back to the U.S. economy. And these are solid jobs with 4.7% annual wage growth. So that's the first thing. But to those who are not yet employed, and there are too many people still out of work, through no fault of President Trump, nor any American. That's only the fault of the Chinese Communist Party. But we need to help those people. The president has done everything he can through executive action by enhancing unemployment benefits. He's also suspended for the rest of the year all student loan payments, both principal and interest. He now needs the Congress to step up and pass a clean bill to help these people. Nancy Pelosi, unfortunately, is trying to manipulate the pandemic. She's trying to use it to pass all kinds of liberal agenda items, including, for example, that stimulus checks would go to illegal migrants. That's part of what she is demanding in these current negotiations. That's a non-starter for the president. We're not going to reward people who broke into our country, who trespassed into America with stimulus checks. They don't don't deserve them. So the president is holding the line here and being tough on negotiations.
All right, Steve Cortes, senior strategy advisor for the Trump campaign. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Kevin?